Hello, and thank you for joining. This is Miss Sani coming to you with your lesson for today. Our essential question is how can we find the length of a diagonal line segment shown on a coordinate grid? Today, you'll be able to apply something called the distance formula to the endpoints of a given line to find its length. The steps that you're going to take in order to do so is to first label your x1, y1, and your x2, y2. Step 2 is to substitute all of those values into the distance formula. And third, you're going to simplify your expression to find the distance, or aka the length. That step 3 is going to be crucial. You're going to simplify, simplify, simplify. Okay, let's take a look at a problem so that we can actually apply this formula. So I'm going to keep the steps at the top so that you can continuously see it. And what it's asking us to do is find the length of segment ST, where S is at -1, 2, and T is at 3, 5. So what is the distance formula? Well, here it is. The distance formula tells us that it's x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. So let's go ahead and do exactly what the steps tells us to do. First, we're going to go ahead and label the x1, y1 and the x2, y2. So here we go. We have our S is -1, 2. This is going to be our x1, y1. Okay? And then T, 3, 5 is going to be our x2, y2. How do I know which one is x1, y1, x2, y2? Well, the first one, I'm just going to label it the ones, x1, y1. And the second point is going to be my twos, my x2, my y2. All right, so we've seen something similar when using the midpoint formula. All right, so now let's go ahead and apply the distance formula. Let's substitute all of our values into the distance formula. So distance tells us that it's the square root of x2, which in this case is 3, because I labeled it. And I subtract that with my x1, which is a -1. Okay, I'm going to close up my parentheses and I square it. And I'm going to do the same thing to my y values. My y2 here is 5. And my y1 has to be a 2, according to what I labeled. And I'm going to close my parentheses and square it. So now here's step 3. Simplify, simplify, simplify. So distance. So now I'm looking at what's underneath my square root, and I have 3 minus a -1. 3 minus -1 is just 4. And if you need assistance with that, feel free to punch that into your calculator. 3 minus a -1. And that gives me 4, and I'm going to square it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simplify this here, this expression. 5 minus 2 just gives me 3, and I know I have to square it. So let's continue. I'm going to make sure my square root is always visible until I get to the end. So now I have 4 squared. So 4 times 4 just gives me 16. And here, 3 squared, or 3 times 3, just gives me 9. So now I'm going to simplify this once again. I have 16 plus 9. 16 plus 9 just gives me 25. So here I know that the square root of 25 just gives me 5. So here we are. I have finally found the distance of line segment ST, or aka the length of ST is 5 units. Thank you for watching.